we're back.
I'll try to take it serious this time. Don't know how that one will go.
Well, honestly, it was better, a better talk than Roe v. Wade, what we were going to go for, to be honest, because we honestly wanted to avoid that. We didn't really want to.
There was nothing that we were really going to say that hasn't been said about Roe v. Wade at this point, and it's not a topic that, like, it's very uncomfortable. It is I heard a very good description of it where it's morally spiky, where you don't really, it's hard to really make a hard line decision on either end, really.
Right. I think a lot of those situations, though, we can end Roe v. Wade here, though, is it should be up to the state. To be honest, if it's something so divided, and that goes for like issues in general that are just so divided, I think it should go up to the state.
Gun control, abortion, like a bunch of different, and we'll get into this too, election laws.
Oh, sweet.
What's up, guys? I wanted to shout out Raised Right Co. really quickly. They got an awesome selection of shirts, sweatshirts, beer cozies, mugs, and even more. There are a ton of different options and plenty of customization options. I'm sure you guys will love all of their products. Check it out if you want to support me or the America First movement, and I'm sure you'll love them.
One thing that I wanted to discuss with you guys this week, I know you guys haven't seen it yet, but 2,000 Mules, I wanted to be associated with it, you know. Interesting movie.
Yeah, what's it about?
It's Dinesh D'Souza. I forget exactly. Can you look up what Dinesh D'Souza is? I forget it. Do any of you guys know like who he is?
No.
I know he's like
I
on
know
TV
nothing
and
about
stuff.
this, to be completely honest with you.
Wait, is he with the Epic Times?
I have no clue. How do you spell his last name?
Souza.
Let's see.
I believe. I could be wrong on this one. Let's look into this.
He's an author, filmmaker, and conspiracy theorist, according to DuckDuckGo.
Conspiracy theorist?
This is
oh,
brave.
so you mean
this is brave, sir. DuckDuckGo is gone.
Yeah, it is gone.
I feel bad. Like, well, I don't feel that bad. Like, did it himself. Dinesh D'Souza was married to Dixie Brubaker in 1992. Back in October of 2012, he had checked in a hotel with another woman. Later, he concealed it by saying he had already separated with his wife and engaged to Denise Adi Joseph, although he had a wife at that time. Hence, D'Souza divorced with Dixie Brubaker. I don't know why I'm reading it as a D. He had also dated Ann Coulter. Oh, very nice, very nice. In 2016, 4 years after divorcing, he got married to his second wife, Debbie Fancher. He has 3 children, and one of his daughters' names is Danielle D'Souza. However, his other 2 children's names are unknown. I thought there would be something about his career there. My bad, guys.
Who is early life?
Career, salary, net worth, and awards. Dinesh D'Souza started his career as an editor of Policy Review and continued it from 1985 to 1987. Between 87 and 88, he was a policy advisor in the administration of President Ronald Reagan. D'Souza was elected as president of the King's College in 2010, but 2 years later, in October 2012, he resigned from his post following a press report said that he had been in a hotel room. Wow.
Okay.
You hear that, guys? He traveled.
Right.
Oh, no.
You can't even be in a hotel room anymore.
Oh, but I'm pretty sure that was related to what we were talking about a few minutes ago with he published his book named The Enemy at Home, The Cultural Left and Its Responsibility, in which he wrote about the 9/11 attacks and targeted the liberals for this attack. It's kind of like, oh god. So maybe he is a bit of a conspiracy theorist, now that I've really looked into some of the things. Like,
He's 61 years old. He does not look 61.
I would say he does.
Nah.
Maybe 50s.
Yeah, he looks like he's more in his 50s.
I'd say late 50s.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
So maybe a little bit, like, okay. You gotta, he looks a few years.
He looks younger than 61.
Okay. But that's because we're used to seeing decrepit 61-year-olds.
Yeah, because
Yeah, we
they're
really are.
running the government.
Later on, D'Souza published a book, The Roots of Obama's Rage, in 2010, where he criticized Barack Obama. Another movie released named 2016,
Movies.
Obama's America, based on his previous book. D'Souza released a documentary film and book, both entitled Hillary's America, which he viewed his personal perception regarding the Democratic Party. His movie became the highest grossing documentary in the year 2016. He also got criticism for adopting conspiracy theories. I did not know that he had a highest grossing documentary. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I can see this 2000 Mules becoming something of the sort. It's definitely getting some traction. Although I watched it on a third-party site, so I don't know how much. Because when I looked up how much it was to purchase the movie, it is $30 to purchase the movie right now.
Wow.
On at least the websites that I was seeing. There could be cheaper versions, but like $30 for
$30 for a bunch of ones and zeros.
for a documentary that is being labeled as somewhat conspiracy.
Yeah.
It seems a little bit steep.
How
But
the conspiracy theorists get you.
Why is it only on sites right now? Or is it like actually widely viewable?
it's not going to be it's not streamed on any of the major streaming stuff.
Wow.
It's mostly word of mouth, and people need to know. Like, on Truth, Trump was talking all about, oh, this is going to be huge, this is going to change the way that people talk about it. That's kind of why we're having that conversation in some ways, where it's,
Okay.
let's actually talk about this. Let's talk about what, because I know not many other places besides right-leaning conservatives will talk about this. There was some interesting things there. Zach, if you want to go back to the first part. So, they were looking into ballot trafficking. It's considered picking up ballots from a location and then sending them to a drop box. They said that the people who perform ballot trafficking tend to get paid around $10 a ballot.
Wow.
So if you're pulling in like 200 ballots,
Yeah.
you're making some good money. And the wages were higher for Georgia's runoff elections, which featured, I believe, Stacey Abrams and I forget the conservative.
Yet the conservative still won, didn't he?
Did he?
Oh,
Wait, is this
Kemp?
is
Was it
this
Kemp?
like
Something.
real?
I don't
know.
Like, or is this like what could happen?
I think this is.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
trying
this
to
is
say
real.
this is what happened.
Yeah.
Really? Wow.
This is explaining the idea of like what, yeah. This is what
What
he's
went
presenting,
down.
saying this is what we believe they did.
Okay.
So, in Atlanta alone, they had more than apparently 36 mules participating. Now, they considered mules anybody who was, I believe, going to 10 or more different drop boxes and visiting 5 or more different nonprofits. Because the nonprofits were where they would be picking up these votes, according to the documentary. And then they showed some videos. Some people are criticizing, saying, oh, I didn't see multiple videos. I don't think you watched the movie. There were definitely some clips of like people going to different drop boxes and like that
yeah,
was very
those
visible.
videos I've seen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, if you didn't see it, then you didn't watch the movie. But yeah, it highlighted some instances of that occurring where people were weirdly they had to take photos of anytime they went to make the drops, anytime they would deliver the ballots to a drop box, they would take a photo of it just to prove, okay, here, I dropped off these ballots, you have to pay me now. So they highlighted many instances of that. And then there was also an instance where they noticed that in Georgia, after December 23rd, people started wearing gloves at drop boxes. They started watching videos of people, started seeing more and more videos of that. They noted that that was interesting because December 22nd, literally the day before, there was an indictment for ballot stuffing. And the individual was caught using their fingerprints. They knew that it was the person dropping those ballots in because of their fingerprints. And then next thing you know, all of these videos are starting to pop up with people wearing gloves at the ballots. And it wasn't like, you can't really blame COVID because at the end of the day, it wasn't happening any time before the indictment happened.
No, I know people had some time before, during, and after the election day. How much time was that? I
In
don't
Georgia,
remember.
they had the runoff election, so that literally, I believe it. Do you know the date? I believe it might have been January 6th that the runoffs were in Georgia.
Wow, that's a long time.
Yeah, that was for governor,
Oh,
I believe. Because I don't believe this. I believe the state was already. Yeah, the state was already decided electorally. But they also showed an instance of, I have a note here that says some did it in plain sight. There were instances where they got on camera people in line at the polling stations, and then they would have people come up with bags, take ballots out, and just start stuffing them in. And then people asking them, like, what are you doing? Why are you just stuffing a bunch of ballots into a drop
Yeah, there
box?
was a lot of questionable things.
No, exactly.
Yeah,
And
like
it's-
that was one of them, for sure.
Yeah, and Crowder did that investigation where he went to where he checked voter rolls and he went to a bunch of different places that he Google mapped and it was like, wait a minute, this doesn't show anywhere. And then he went there and it's like, this isn't anything. Like, you didn't live here. Your voter registration is completely off. Like, what is this? Who are these people?
Yeah, and didn't Crowder also say that he voted like 3 or 4 times, but it wasn't him? Wasn't there like a...
I missed that.
Yeah, I
did not hear
think there was another one of his ballots, and it's like, and he's like, somebody else could have signed this. Somebody else could have done this too.
Could you imagine if you got a Democrat voting in there?
Right.
How crazy would that be? Or do you think he could have been acting in that sense? Like, if he did get a Democrat vote, like, he could have been like, look at this! And then he actually sent in a ballot, but they just declined it every time. You know, he just kept asking for absentee ballots. I forget
can see
where.
that.
Yeah, where is that show? Where is Crowder located?
Texas, right?
I think so.
Oh yeah.
I don't know what city
True.
though.
Texas. Wait, scroll up real quick, Zach. So I want to bring up that this is in Atlanta. We're pulling up a map of the route of one of the individuals who was a mule. And this is just kind of what their normal day-to-day interactions are. The little dots that you see the little red dots?
Yeah.
Those are all drop boxes. That was the person's geolocation, and that was just how they drove throughout the day.
Wow.
And all of the drop boxes in the city are highlighted in the red dots. So some people are trying to make the argument, oh, maybe that's just their normal driving route. On every single ballot box, on every single drop box, that's your normal route. Some of these literally just go off into nothing. What is there that you're going to, like...
Right.
Right.
Like, they clearly went somewhere, stopped, and turned around.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good
Like-
observation.
Half of these, like there's one on the left, top left, there's a few on the bottom right, that it looked like they were just hitting a line of ballot boxes. Like, and the blue circles with the red, or the blue dots with the red circles, those are all nonprofits, where they would pick up votes. So they also hit all of those as well.
Wow.
And it's very weird.
It's a coincidence.
Isn't it? Isn't it? It's so weird. Scroll up real quick, Zach. I want to do the final statistics. So in
Oh,
Atlanta, They had 242 mules that averaged about 24 separate drop boxes. So, 242 people. Well, let's pull up the handy dandy calculator. Let's do the math. 242 times 24 different drop boxes. And I remember in the movie they said that a decent estimate is 5 ballots per drop box in order to stay away from being caught. So that way people aren't like, why are you dropping off 200 ballots just randomly? You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So let's multiply this number by 5. So in Atlanta, 29,000 votes so far.
Wow.
Also, they found that 3 dozen mules.
And that's a lot of money because you said it was like $10 a ballot, right?
Yeah. So let's and even it was even more in Georgia. So let's say it's $15, right? So they spent about $435,600 just to win in Georgia, just to win in Atlanta.
Sad.
I mean, Joe Biden's just great,
Imagine knowing that you're that bad that you have to cheat that hard.
right?
Yeah, because I'm sorry, but he was
Senile.
gone for
Right.
the entire time of campaigning.
And we pointed it out every step of the way. We were like, hey, I get you hate Trump, but like,
You gotta
look
do
at this.
better.
Just look at this.
Yeah,
Right.
and it's like you see how many people support Trump versus how like the groups of people that supported Biden.
Who supports
It's not
Biden?
even comparable.
It was supporting Get Trump Out. It was
Yeah.
absolutely.
Right.
There were so
That's it.
few people who actually were like, yeah.
Yeah, everybody I
Biden's
knew that
it.
voted for Biden didn't want Biden, and it's
No.
just like, then why? Then why? You know what I mean?
Right.
It's just they really voted out Trump. That's all they wanted. That's all. It was a referendum against Trump. That's all they cared about. And one part of that was BLM riots. I would like to point out that they found that 3 dozen mules participated in BLM riots. That they found other geolocations of that. They found images of those people. Like, okay, we see you on camera here, and we
Wow.
find images of you
At the riot.
at the riots and stuff. So, yeah, this was very much like they're pointing out a lot of things that would say there
Like,
was
these are a lot
political
of red
motivation.
Flags. There's
Yeah,
a lot of red flags
exactly.
here.
There's a lot of red flags that say, could this have been politically motivated towards getting a guy that they hated out? I remember. Sorry, Zach, were you going to say something?
Mhm.
I remember back around Election Day, they were talking about a possible coup against Donald Trump, where it was Marky Mark's coup with the Zuck. Facebook ads strictly not telling Republicans to vote, but flooding Democrats with "go vote, go vote, go vote."
Yeah, I remember that. And like Snapchat had filters all over "go vote" or
Mhm.
you know, and it was just all over social media. It was honestly kind of
Yeah.
sickening to me,
Yeah.
because it's just like I haven't seen this. Like
Yeah.
I've been on Snapchat since I was like what 16, 15,
Yep.
and this never happened until
No.
2020. Like
Yeah.
it's just the psychological persuasion was definitely there. It was everywhere. It surrounded you everywhere, and it made people feel like you have to do this, or it's the end all be all. Like we're gonna have this terrible, terrible man again.
Yeah.
But
No.
we got something worse.
We got decrepitness. We got
Yeah.
somebody who can't
Weak.
eat. Yeah. He can't do anything. He can't even walk by himself. Like,
The man can't hold it.
literally.
Yeah.
Like, Alex, why am I? Alex Jones had a whole series on it. I posted it.
Oh
it
no!
was about how his aides are just running around the White House trying to collect his feces and trying to make sure that he's not like going absolutely off the walls at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Oh.
What is like? There
That's
are
so
problems,
sad.
guys. There are major problems, and
But
we're
I
not.
don't. I honestly think that the people who voted for Biden thought that Trump was a bigger threat than a weak leader.
Honestly.
You know, like, they really did believe that what they were told, and what they were told was, oh, he's going to cause world war. Oh, he's going to cause stuff to happen with North Korea, with Russia, with everything.
Even though everything that they're saying Trump was going to do is happening now under Biden.
Yeah. I think there's a good chance that Trump was holding back the floodgates.
Yeah.
Of Putin invading Ukraine, of possible inflation, of... Because at the end of the day, Psaki said it the other day, Psaki said it herself, it is gas and energy that's the lead cause of inflation. And us being so weak at this point in that sector, in those fields, like, it's awful. Why? Why is it...
It's so bad.
Just...
Like, I can't go under $50 in gas anymore. And doing deliveries, I have to do gas 2 or 3 times a week.
Yep. I have a truck. It's...
Yeah, that's even worse.
It's fun.
Ooh.
You know what I found weird at some places, though? Some places have cut, like, I think I've seen it at Speedway a few times, where they won't let you get past $74 in gas. Like, they'll cut it off. Like, I have more than enough money in my bank account to pay for gas
I've never
at
noticed
this
that.
point. But, like, well, yeah, none of you guys fill it up.
Yeah, I've
that
never
much.
filled it up to 70.
It's like 17 gallons at that point, so, like, if I'm, like,
Yeah.
if I'm low, I have to wait to fill, you know? And it's usually, I usually fill up on my way to work or something, you know, on my way to doing something, so it's like I gotta wait till after 2.
Yeah, the most I paid in gas was last week, 2 weeks ago.
You know what the funny part is?
What?
It's only going to get worse.
Yeah.
No, it's gonna get so much better.
It increased.
Build back better,
Did you
guys.
hear what he
Build,
did
470.
build back, what did he do today?
He canceled 2 of the most important
yeah.
leases that we had. The Gulf of Mexico and an Alaskan lease
Yep.
for oil drilling.
Yeah.
You know, just as we hit
I heard
literally an
about
all-time
Alaska.
high.
I heard about Alaska.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
I heard-
what? Why? To... See, here's the thing, like, if he's really pushing for this electric vehicle stuff...
You still need it
Why are
to
you-
make the electricity.
And, yes, and also it's just most people use gas and oil. Wait
Yep.
until at least, like, 50% of people have electric vehicles.
Right.
Then start cutting back, maybe, if that's your goal, is to say,
Absolutely.
we don't want to contribute to this as much gas pollution as we are. If that's what he's going for, why are you doing it all right now when we're all still dependent on gas? It's like as if he's trying to force us.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, exactly.
That's what it is. Government control.
Yep. And I've had some conversations with lefties on this exact thing where it's people criticize California's measures on climate, where it's like, hey, even Elon Musk doesn't want to be a part of you guys because you are too stringent.
Yeah.
Don't you see that? And they're like, no, it still doesn't go far enough. And it's like, well, the issue is nobody is capable of reaching your rules. Nobody's capable of sustaining what you want and actually making money and actually doing anything.
You know what I think the issue is? There's this whole stigma where if you're going to be a politician, you have to know law. You have to go through all this stuff.
Yeah.
If you go and study law, you don't know what the AC, HVAC repairman is doing. You don't know how his job works. You don't know how those truck drivers' jobs work. You don't know how, the deli slicer,
Exactly.
at your local grocery store works. You don't know how any of this stuff works. Like, we have people that don't know how the everyday functions of our country work.
Yep.
Making rules and regulations on how they should work.
Yep.
It's never going to work that way.
Most presidents in the past had done other stuff, and then we got down a path where it was just every president had some degree in law.
Yeah,
Yeah,
had to have
some
something.
sort
And you
of-
had to be a politician in the past.
Oh,
It's like, why?
yeah.
Like, Trump is the first one that broke that, and look at how better
Well,
everything
in a
got.
while.
How better?
Yeah.
How much better
Yeah,
it got.
thank you, Zachary.
You're welcome.
Thank you for fixing it. This is, again, why you're being fired. By the way, if you guys don't know, this is Zach's last episode.
Yeah, last one. Sunday's the day I go back.
To the womb. And dies.
Yep.
If only.
If all.
I think a lot more of these problems too are people who are inexperienced with how things work too. I know when the stock market is, the way it is now, they're like, well, that's what you get. Oh, I've seen a few tweets of people are like, well, that's what you get for contributing to a gambling ring. And it's just like, do you know how much people use that to invest, to improve companies, to improve things? Like we want to improve our economy? It's not a bad thing.
They take out a public offering because they say, hey, if the public helps us with some money, we can actually turn into something. That's how the Apples of the world got to Apple. That's how Google got to where they are. You make a public offering and then you have financial backing.
It's not all rich people throwing money somewhere and...
imagine a GoFundMe that you actually get money back from.
Yeah.
Give, send, go.
Yeah.
That was a wild time. I don't even remember if we were in season 2 at that point. Were we talking about the truckers? Did we do any episodes?
We did.
Okay. I couldn't remember, but that was a wild time.
Yeah.
That was really bad. That really did show Canada's true colors.
Oh yeah, and it made other people do more research, and it was really Canada's so crappy. Canada's got such bad history and such poor.
No, you can't go into Canada without a certain pass.
Yeah.
From us, to go there, it has all of our medical stuff needed, COVID stuff needed to cross the border.
You either need to be vaccinated or you have to produce negative tests.
Yeah.
Very recently,
I think the only reason Canada's considered a Western nation is because it's in the West.
Well, yeah.
That's literally it. If it wasn't in the West, it'd be just a normal country.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's kind of gross.
Yeah, no, it's not very. There is no Western thinking. It is having that weird, stodgy neighbor that's just completely disagrees with you.
Call the police on you for laying out on your lawn.
It's like having the MAGA guy get the gay pride flag guy moving in right next to him. It's going to be a little bit awkward having those two conflicting. Just because you know the type, they're going to have every single sign that says, protect Roe v. Wade.
One side isn't going to be happy about it.
Yeah. Love Trump's hate. Yeah. All of those BS stuff. I remember seeing the Love Trump's hate the day after Election Day in 2016, and that was hilarious.
You're right. They still have that up, too.
Yep. Why? It's so stupid, because at the end of the day, you're just showing your own hatred towards somebody else. Stupid.
Yeah.
Come on. How, did you not think about that?
No, they don't think. They don't think for themselves. Most people don't. That's what I've realized. I know that sounds really awful, but coming from a psych point of view, it's just frustrating. Yeah. It's frustrating to see that you know what's happening to people, and no matter how much you try to convince them or say, hey, think of it this way, they think you're an enemy. I cannot tell you how many times that's happened to me in 2020. And it's just frustrating. So I'm at this point where it's you know what? I don't think people really think for themselves. Yeah. They think based on what's around them.
No, exactly. And it's we are not your enemy. We're all just, how could you think that we're looking to put down other people? How, at this day and age, how could you be thinking that, our focus is trying to hurt other people? Our focus is trying to do this or that.
Right. Think of it this way, let's say you're pro-choice, but can you really be mad at a pro-lifer because they're I don't want unborn babies to be killed? And it's we think of the woman, but it's they're thinking of a baby. They're not horrible people. They're not horrible people who want to lock girls away and force them to do whatever. Yeah. No. But that's how they're painted.
Yeah. It's, to women, it's oh, you're not thinking about our right to choose for abortions. And it's most abortion bills don't even say anything about the first trimester or the first few, the first set of. There are many exemptions. There's good amount of time where you have a choice, it's much overblown, and it's a lot of people make this point where it's for the midterms. It's so that way we can change the subject, and that's why we don't want to talk about it too much. Like why we didn't want to, because it's a waste of our time.
It is a waste.
Okay, people like it's been growing for years. This movement has been something that we've been talking about for years. I posted a video.
It's always been controversial, like always.
Exactly. And Trump in 2016 was talking about how he is going to put pro-life judges on the court. What did he do? What happened? You know, people voted for it.
What he said.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, like that's another thing where it's even like I was talking to so many people saying with that meme with Troy Bolton, I forget his Zac Efron, him where it's I didn't vote for this. Well, you kind of did.
Yeah.
And I sent that, and then I had made so many Democrats mad. Like I would put that on my story or something, and so many people were like, "We didn't vote for this. He's not following anything that we said." And it's like, but
what?
We told you.
Politicians not following what you voted for?
No, exactly.
What?
We like literally were telling you that like he's lying straight to your face. We told you he would pack the court. He's gonna do it, guaranteed. It's gonna be their way of saying like, "Oh, you need to vote us in so we can pack the court, so we can reaffirm Roe v. Wade." Some BS like that.
It's such this back and forth war bull crap. Like, well, I'm tired of it. Like it's only coming from the. Well, no, I won't even say that. It's coming from both. I'm so tired of it.
See,
it's disgusting.
I'm tired of getting our ass kicked in some ways, where it's like they're the only ones. They're the ones that are screaming the loudest. They're the ones that like because conservatives aren't going to raise their voice above this level.
Well,
they're not going to.
They also have. Yeah. All of the media on their side, all of social media on their side.
Especially
they don't have opposition. They think that they're the opposition, but they're not. Like it's funny.
Exactly.
It's really funny to see.
Yeah. It really is absurd where it's
silent
just
majority.
Yeah.
Exactly. There's a reason why. See, and it's very interesting because I see a red wave coming. So am I gonna have to change my name? Am I gonna have to be?
Who knows?
But either way, we'll still probably be quiet.
We'll still clearly don't matter. But hey.
Yeah. But liberals are definitely going to be like, what about those guys who would have parades and stuff with, the flags and the Blue Lives Matter, and that's something that I find crazy.
Yeah.
The level of just propaganda that we now just present everywhere. It's like, yeah.
And they just push
it's
it
like they
it's
want
fact.
to fight. They just want to fight. Like Blair White, the trans woman that a lot of people don't like because she does say controversial stuff, like more so on the right kind of stuff. And she posted something today that people who say that they are bullied by their gender, their sexuality, whatever, are probably just unlikable C-word. And I'm just like, that's so funny, because you know what? It's at that point where you kind of make your own problems. So, like, she's got a point. And people are commenting, it's just like...
Most people don't make fun of you unless you're making, like...
Unless you're doing something to be made fun of.
No, exactly.
Yeah, so many people attack her, and it's just like, well, why? Yeah.
Unless you're doing something to piss people off, like, you're not going to be... messed with you, most likely. Especially, again, I raised this point again, especially in today's day and age, in today's PC BS garbage.
That's where I was getting at. That guy was like, well, we need a fight to make sure, like, everybody, like, is okay with these type of people. Like, they have to fight every day just for people to accept them. Like, why do you need people to accept you? Why do you need a fight? Why
How
fight?
many people do you think accept me?
I'm so tired. Like, this is just something we have to eventually get to, but we can't force everybody to think the same way right now. Like, are you dumb?
And why does your happiness rely on being accepted by everyone else?
Yeah.
No, exactly.
Once you drop that, your happiness goes skyrocketing because you don't care what other people think of you.
What's going to happen when you find people that just hate you because of who you are?
You just laugh at those people at that point. Like, it matters to kids. It matters to teenagers.
Well, that's all we have is teenagers in the body of an adult.
Yeah.
Teenagers at most.
It's very problematic. It's very dangerous.
Very. It's just, tolerant love.
But speaking of tolerance, and let's go into social media. Let's talk about some statements that Elon's made recently. Elon claims that he wants Trump back to Twitter and that he will do everything in his power to bring Trump back. I'll read some quotes. He said at an event sponsored by the Financial Times, "It was morally bad and foolish in the extreme for Twitter to permanently suspend Trump in January 2021. I do think that it was not correct to ban Donald Trump. I think that was a mistake because it eliminated a large part of the country and did not ultimately result in Donald Trump not having a voice."
Yeah.
That was first reported by the Wall Street Journal. But yeah, that's exactly our argument for big tech censorship.
Over something that he didn't incite, mind you.
Right.
That as well.
Even when I saw that and heard his speech, I was like, when did he incite violence? Like, I missed it. I watched it twice. It was like a 16-minute speech.
What you have to do is you have to selectively cut out literally all the context.
Oh,
from
so
that sentence.
Modern journalism then.
Yes.
Oh.
See, wait.
Manufacture the story.
So, wait, guys, when is the impeachment trial for Elizabeth Warren?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about.
Probably never. She's protected class.
Wait,
actually, calling for violence is not calling for violence. It's when you don't call for violence that's actually calling for violence.
Bingo.
Okay. I'm confused.
So is everyone else.
Except the people that have no brain.
What is going on?
Blindly follow. Yeah, what is going on?
Just, why is this the way that we're...
Because we're all children.
We're all
children.
Because
it's so
a majority
bad.
of Americans are just uneducated.
Yeah.
It's the nicest way to put it.
And we're scared of using any sort of power to put down these politicians who are corrupting our system, who are killing any sort of progress towards anything just by doing their corruption.
As bad as it sounds, it's becoming more like feminine, more accepting of all things and not really protecting. Like it's a more feminine society.
Absolutely, and it's
just go with the flow.
Yeah.
And protect and accept everybody no matter what sexuality or even pedophiles. Like, what the hell is that?
Right.
You know?
But it's going to ultimately become a reliance on other people to protect us. It's going to ultimately become a reliance where, like, we've been strength through power. All of our country's existence. What are we doing becoming every other country in NATO?
Right.
I mean, I guess in some ways, like, it'll make everybody else pay, but, like, that just means we're going to roll over and get trampled by China and Russia when they want to attack and go into World War III.
Right. Have you also noticed that most of the military force that the other countries provide is just American troops that are working over there?
Yep.
So it's like we protect every country in NATO plus some. So if we're pulled into a war and those countries no longer have our support like that, I mean, obviously they do if it's, a NATO country being attacked, because we have to support.
Yep.
But really, what help are you getting from these other countries? Like,
they're not paying their fair share. They're paying like 0.5% of their GDP, while the U.S. has been paying 4%. It's
I saw that on Crowder.
Yeah. It's just, it's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
We're not getting. Everybody wants to talk about the fair share of the rich and this and that. Well, why shouldn't we be getting a fair share? Why should the United States? Because it could be saving us a lot of money. Everybody complains about military spending. Well, maybe we can spend a lot less if we don't have to do NATO spending at 4% of our GDP.
Yeah.
And maybe we can
sending
cut it in half.
Billions to a war that we're not even part of.
Absolutely. That's a very simple thing.
That's a big one.
Where it's like Trump could have literally, if they just let Trump work, if they let Trump take the troops out of Afghanistan,
Right.
if they let Trump do his military decisions, I have a feeling we would be in a better place. I don't think war would be happening. I don't think this and that would be happening. And it's like, I think that was the biggest problem with not having an establishment president for them.
One of the biggest things, if you want us to cut our defense spending, don't have us defending every other country. Don't have us going into these war-torn countries and providing aid. Don't have us doing all this stuff. Why do we have to focus on everyone else?
Why do we have Pray for Ukraine flags in everybody's bio and all that stuff when we don't want to be spending money on
And to be honest, they haven't
military?
thought of Ukraine
Ever.
until now.
Like,
That's
no one
just how
cared about
easy it
Ukraine
is.
until
That's
now.
just how easy it is.
Exactly. And it was overnight. Because literally, I asked multiple people, oh, what do you think of Ukraine? Because like I was up with it. I knew what was going on. I knew that, oh, this was possible, like this and that. And everybody was like, yeah, who cares? And then days later, they're like, whoa, we got to help them. We got to do this and that. And it's like,
psychology.
Jesus Christ,
it's so
guys.
Scary. It is so scary how it's weaponized.
Absolutely.
I think it's weaponized.
It is. It's that's exactly what it is. They're forcing us to take a side, and we're going to get into more of like how they're forcing us in that way. But we're now like I now get why people were against Vietnam. You know, where it's like I want no part of being in Ukraine and Russia and helping with that. And we're going to be sending money. We're going to be doing this and that to...
Yeah, why are we getting involved in
Exactly.
this if we want to be involved in this?
Like,
you know what I mean?
I'm not saying it's a good thing, but at the end of the day, if Ukraine can't defend itself against Russia, then sorry, but goodbye, Ukraine.
Darwinism. It wasn't meant
Looks
to
like
live.
you're now Russia again. Mind you, again.
And you know, I would say like if we
Like-
had like a treaty or like an agreement with them, then sure. Like,
But we don't.
But with Afghanistan, we did, and that
Right.
was so easily broken. So clearly, we can't do that either.
Right. It's stupid. And it's like, oh, well, we need to help Ukraine. It could be a NATO country. Could be. Not is. Could
Yeah.
be. It's like they applied to become a NATO country after Russia attacked.
See, and like, it's a big part of why Russia's upset.
Not like approved to be one, no. Applied to be one.
No, exactly. It's there's a war going on.
So let's
because
see
of
if
the
we can get in on this. Like, why?
It's
like now you want our help,
Right.
You know.
Like, you've had how many years since finally being free of Russia the first time?
and and we established. I think the main reason why the government is kind of focused on trying to help Ukraine is because of. Didn't we do military action in 2014 and installed Zelensky as president there?
I know Zelensky is like a U.S.-backed president for them.
Yeah.
He's more reality TV star than Trump was.
Exactly. Like that's
way
what
more.
Yeah.
He was in movies on Dancing with the Stars. Like, he was actually, like,
praised.
an actual celebrity. Where Trump was just like, oh, he said you're
fired.
And he was in that Home Alone movie.
Right. Once.
Yes. Yes. See, Macaulay Culkin, that was like a 50-year-old man that he didn't have to worry about hanging out with.
Right.
In big palaces. That.
Right. Unlike Joe Biden.
I was also talking about MJ, but yeah. Joe Biden. But we were talking about Twitter's ban. I just want to...
We went way off.
We went way off. I just wanted to close out that little part right there. I wanted to remind everybody what Twitter's statement on the ban was. So I'll read it out here. After assessing the language in these tweets against our glorification of violence policy, we have determined that these tweets are in violation of the glorification of violence policy, and the user @RealDonaldTrump should be immediately permanently suspended from the service. Twitter wrote.
Huh.
How, like, just ridiculousness. Because at the end of the day, I've had certain posts on Instagram get taken down just because they, like my Kyle Rittenhouse post. I was so mad about that.
What?
Yeah. I had just explaining the details of the case. That's all it was. And they took it down. Because they said I was inciting violence.
Dude, come on.
And I
No,
found
it's just
that
freedom of
absolutely
speech.
insane.
That's what it is.
Yep.
It's gone.
Yep.
That's what that is.
I was literally just explaining what was presented in court. The points, like literally both
Right, inciting
sides.
violence would be like, oh, look, a fire.
Yeah.
Or, hey, let's go kill this guy. Like, that's
Yep.
inciting violence.
Or if you see them in a restaurant, make a scene. Don't let them eat in peace. You know how
Or
Maxine Waters said
stand
to treat the
outside,
people of Trump's
yeah.
cabinet.
Or stand outside their houses.
Right.
Yeah.
And you know what? That goes both ways. I remember when they did that with Cuomo, too. And
Oh,
I
yeah.
honestly didn't really like that. I don't like really protesting right outside their house with their
Right.
family.
Like,
and
it's one
kids,
thing if
you
it's
know?
outside of their office.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you don't like what Biden's doing? Go protest outside the White House. Don't go protest outside of his Delaware vacation home.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing?
Hang out in the palm trees.
Right.
The artificial palm trees.
Yeah.
I can guarantee.
The
he's got
kitty
some.
litter sand. That's super absorbent for his accidents.
Hunter's or his?
Both.
I feel, yeah, right? Like, happy little accidents. Hunter's just there, like, Pops is good stuff. Angelo Carusone also said, who is the president of Media Matters, shortly before Musk announced his successful bid for the company, that the sale of Twitter to Elon Musk would be a victory for disinformation and the people who peddle it. Musk could unleash a wave of toxicity and harassment and undo Twitter's efforts to increase quality engagement and make its platform safer for users.
If you want to be safe,
That's
don't
not
use social
yeah.
media.
Don't
like,
use social
literally
at all.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, that's just common sense, but I guess not.
Right. If you want to be safe, don't leave your house. If
Yep.
you want to be safe, don't read. If you want to be safe, just don't live. Just, just be a hobbit. Live in
Be
your
Andre's
house.
grandma.
Don't believe everything you see on the internet. Have
Right.
you guys heard that one before? It's almost
No.
we've heard this since the
Wikipedia?
internet came out.
Right.
Guys, I just want to say that I got all of these notes from Wikipedia.
Remember when Wikipedia used to be never use Wikipedia because it's a public source
Yep.
and anyone can edit it? Now it's like, oh yeah, Wikipedia is one of the most reliable sources because of it being publicly sourced.
Yep.
It's like, how does it change like that? Like, is it or is it not?
No, it absolutely is not. I can
Right.
guarantee that. It is still a garbage database.
I mean, I'm sure you can get some useful information, but like,
I can guarantee you it
Like
won't
maybe
get you
basic,
more than a
but
B
not
plus on
much.
your science
Yeah.
project.
oh yeah, no, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't use it as a source for a research paper or anything for school or anything, but
Better not.
I mean,
hear
if
that?
you just want to like look up someone's biography or something, I'm sure you can get basic information out of it.
That's fair. That's fair.
Just depending on who it is. If it's Trump, don't believe what you read.
Yeah. They're
And
gonna,
I love that
I
they're
would
trying
like-
to really tackle this disinformation stuff, and it's like,
Yeah.
Who
what?
are you?
Like,
Yeah.
this kind of sounds Orwell. Like,
Mhm.
it really does. It's like
Yep.
you pick and choose what's real or what's not, when
No, exactly.
we've clearly seen throughout the entire pandemic how
Wait.
something has changed.
Wait, can I say something? Bill Gates the other day likened COVID to the flu.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Yep.
you don't say.
Bill Gates the other day said that COVID was very similar to the flu. Noticed a higher mortality rate, but noticed that it was very similar in some manners. I'm not saying that's me. I'm saying the guy who was just put in charge of pandemic planning for all future pandemics. Sorry, almost said something.
Uh
You almost said what it really was.
oh.
The guy who's in charge of that just said something that would have gotten you banned the past 2 years.
Yeah.
Something that's gotten our videos banned.
Yeah,
Multiple
I remember.
times?
It was late March, early April, and I said the exact same thing of when COVID
Yep.
was a thing. And I said, oh, okay, so it's been 2-3 weeks. We have a good sample size. This looks a lot like the flu. I said that with my uncle. My uncle said the same thing. It said it really did look like the swine flu.
Yeah. You know what's crazy? I still have a guideline strike from August. Because we said something of that sort.
Really?
Of course.
Well,
August of last year. We are almost approaching a full year. I still have a thing on my YouTube creator feed that says you did this, you're demonetized, this and that, because of a statement that Bill Gates has now said.
You know what's getting annoying? There's nothing on
them
YouTube.
on control.
That is very true too.
Yeah.
There's nothing new, nothing that I want to see. Like besides my
it's
stuff.
all the same stuff.
Check it out.
Like, I understand that they tailor, you know, what you're seeing to you and what you viewed in the past, but
I have different accounts.
Right, and I want to see more than just what you think I'm gonna like.
Yep.
Like, I want to find new things, not the same old things.
No, exactly. I had to start different accounts, not creating any content there, but like just so that way I can find different things, and I still find the same stuff because at the end of the day, like.
Mm-hmm. It is, and so it's like.
Well, I
why
guess the
are they
algorithm works.
punishing creators for creating?
Yeah. Give us new stuff.
I remember that.
Yeah, like I mean,
like
if
when
you
they
just
really
say
started
something
getting
that they don't agree
serious,
with,
yeah.
you're just immediate.
Like how much control they had on PewDiePie, like whether you were a fan of him or not, they were like, well, it was like bubblegum and rainbows, honestly, from 2014 and earlier. But then after that, when things started getting more serious, I guess, with YouTube.
Let's talk about why Trump doesn't want to go back to Twitter.
So we're going back. Do you want me to close this again?
Yeah, sure. Why don't you close?
I was on you.
We might get out of the. We'll cut you out.
Yeah, you'll be fine. That was more for us. Just chit chatting. Finding that reference he made.
But Truth has posted a #1 downloaded app. Has sustained the ability to be the #1 downloaded app on the Apple App Store for a bit of time. Twitter was #2 as well at the time.
That's funny. That shows something.
Yes.
Imagine leaving Twitter because Elon bought it just to go to the one that Trump made.
Why? Why would you do that? Why would you do that?
Imagine.
Why? I think it would make more sense if it was like Parag was still running it.
Right.
But he is still running it at this point. But I think it's hilarious that a bunch of conservatives have seen their follower counts go up tremendously.
Yeah, like thousands, like tens of thousands.
Yep. And Democrats have seen theirs drop substantially. Just like in the same numbers, like 20, 30,000 people.
It's almost like the people have power.
20 gained there.
It's
almost like they're voting with social media before the actual vote.
Exactly. Bring Trump back.
That's what people have been saying.
But Musk said that Twitter's become very boring. They've gotten rid of many good voices on Twitter. A lot of them, they're conservative voices. One being Donald Trump. That would, I don't love the Twitter and Truth like layout kind of. I prefer video. I prefer visual. I prefer making a visual.
Instagram.
I like making content for Instagram because it's very visual. I like making visual content.
Yeah, me too. I think that's what a lot of people are geared towards too.
I would say at least me. Like I've always been a very visual person,
Mm-hmm.
so it makes more sense for me to do things in this way. Like I like doing what I do. Like you got to have fun with it. Twitter, like. I just can't keep up with it. Like I can't. I'm doing other stuff.
I really understand though. I hate the layout. A lot of people like it, but it's like quick info. But it's like
exactly.
no, I just want pretty. I don't know.
Yeah.
Something that looks good. Something that
Something
stimulates.
catches your eye.
Catches your eye. Yeah.
does something that, like, okay, cool. Like, I can only spend so much time going through the Twitters and the Truth Socials and the Gabber. And
like, I can care less about people's comments. Because really, that's all it is.
Exactly. That's really what it is. And it's, at this point, I don't believe, like, I don't know, why are you, like, I'm just going to be breaking news there. Like, I'm just going to be advertising for what I'm looking for. And, like, yeah, I should probably use it more. I should probably use it as a better way to share news quicker, where, like, okay, maybe I don't have to do a full story on this.
Yeah, that, or maybe, like, hey, I'm about to do a live.
Yeah, I've done that before, where that makes sense for me. Like,
I've
it honestly
seen that.
works for messages. Like, I like the way that it works in that sense, where, like, I can put out messages and, like, okay, maybe I turn truth into that, where, hey guys, check out this thing that I'm doing, check out the podcast, check out this.
Post, like, a link to it.
Yeah, exactly. No, I actually really like the way that it's done in that sense, where it's like Twitter, where, like, you actually can click the link, and it's not like Instagram. You can't do that. I can't put a link in the description. I can't even, like, that's why I do it the way that I do it with the stories, so that way if you want to see the article after I, wrote it up for that post, go ahead. Here's the link, and check out the link in bio highlight, just plugging this real quick, just because it has all of the articles I've done recently since starting to go
I've
down
read,
this
like,
path.
your own personal articles, which is kind of nice.
Yeah.
It's
I have sources there if everybody, if you're interested in knowing where I get the stuff from, but, like, I take time in those, and I make sure that, I'm getting the truth out there.
And it's the quality shows.
Yeah. No, exactly. I'm taking my time with it, making sure that, like, I definitely need to get better at, like, proofreading and, like, editing. Just sometimes I am like, okay, I want to get this post and this post and this post done, and, like, 'cause I want to get some information out to you guys. I want to stuff. Like, Tuesday, I posted, like, 6 to 8 posts. I don't, like, somewhere along those lines. Like, I can't even, a bunch of stuff. Not I was really on a roll that day. But so was the news. Everything was going,
Yep.
Everything was going crazy.
That's how it goes.
Some of the news, I think I'm good with talking about truth. Some of that news was the baby formula shortage.
Yeah.
Just, we're seeing outages like no other. How are we this economically poor at this point? How are we?
And I don't know if I can mention this, but there have been word of actual food companies being burned or destroyed somehow. You've seen it
Really?
too?
Yeah. I've read something about someone linked to the Biden administration was arrested for, like, possible connection to it or something.
Yeah.
No.
Because
They
there's
were,
like 8
arrested by
different
military white
sources of
hats or something.
of
whatever
big
that is.
companies
I
that
don't know.
provide food.
Wait, could you pull something up? Like, we try and
Yeah,
pull
I
something
know
up on this?
Quaker is one of them. Like, maybe just type in Quaker burned down or
There,
Wait, what do you wanna know?
factory
Mhm.
burn down?
The
like,
food-
like the
like
oak, the oak
processing places
Yeah.
burning down, or do you want to know about the Biden dude?
guy.
Yeah, why don't you pull up that guy? I want
That
to.
guy?
I want to learn in. I want to look
Yeah, I
into
don't even
something.
know about him.
I have no idea what it was.
I didn't even know what he was.
I've only seen it on
Biden.
Truth Social,
Associate arson.
so it's like it was not shown anywhere else. I've only seen it on Truth Social. How people like, really weird how things are just burning down and why we can't have food anymore. And this was like a couple weeks before this baby shortage, so I wonder if that has anything to do with it.
It's very possible.
Which is kind of scary, you know?
That one was written on my birthday. Biden's business associate, former CAS
Processing.
PM, arrested. Wow, it's crazy. The Bidens are becoming the Clintons.
Yep.
Everybody's being arrested. We just pulled up like 17 different articles of like, this guy was arrested, this guy was arrested, this guy associated with the Bidens, this guy, this guy, this guy.
Oh, what's the fact check? That has nothing to do with nothing, even though it's been like so many in the past 2
Right.
years. Just 2 years.
I don't know. Snopes says it's not a
Hold
thing.
on. Let's do the 25 mysterious fires at food processing plants across the U.S. Let's look at this.
Yep, that's what I was talking about. It was all over Trump Social by the Candyman. He posts a lot of stuff on there.
Who?
The Candyman. He has like a picture of Willy Wonka in his bio. It's kind of funny. Highly recommend. But he definitely goes off, and he does his own talking too.
Well,
No.
we're looking into this. We had a long discussion in the G7 with both the United States, which has the third largest producer of wheat in the world, as well as Canada, which is also a major producer. And we both talked about how we could increase and disseminate more rapidly food shortages. Biden said it. What? Okay, that confused me. Biden said at NATO headquarters in Brussels on March 24th. The video has been removed by Facebook. The transcript of that address has also been altered slightly.
Of course it has. Can't
of
have his
course.
gaps out on
Hold on.
TV.
See, I just read it and I got myself confused because I was like, what did he say? And then this is what oh wait, no. Hold on. With regards to food shortages, yes, we did talk about food shortages, and it's going to be real, Biden said at a press conference last week in Belgium after attending meetings of NATO and G7 leaders.
Of
8%
course, it's just blaming it all on Russia.
Yeah.
The inflation.
He said the 8% inflation is the price of sanctions.
I mean, sure, that's got some to do with it, but it's not the whole reason.
That's not even most of the reason.
Right.
We've been headed down this trajectory
And we
for
didn't
a year and a
sanction
half.
anything besides buying oil from them.
And it
Every
all
other
starts
sanction
with
were on
massive
individual
spending.
Russian people.
Yeah, and it all starts with massive spending. We've seen this before. Massive spending leads
Mm-hmm.
to, good times for a short period of time, and then it crashes.
Mm-hmm.
Because, nothing is worth anything anymore.
It's going to be really bad because we're going to follow along the lines of like Argentina. I'm pretty sure Argentina right now is having their currency just completely being blown out of the water. Have you seen about their
No.
stuff? That would be a good segment to do one day. It's
Okay.
not really about the United States, but we can definitely relate it to it where the United States is just in terrible...
I mean, I'm sure we'll hit more and more records, so you can always compare it at some point when you hit another.
Gotta be number one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least that's something with Biden. We are definitely hitting a bunch of records.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He is a record-breaking
Gas record,
president.
literally.
Yeah. Diesel, gas. We were down a little bit for a little bit, and we went right back up. Like we said, where it wasn't going to do much, it was never going to do much, and now we've got to replenish oil reserves, which is going to cost more money. So it's literally just kicking the can down the road again. Just doing the same exact thing over and over again.
And how are we going to replenish those oil reserves when we won't drill for oil?
Nope. It means globalism.
Yes,
Means-
relying on other
yes.
people.
And it'll likely be Rushcrania once Russia takes over.
Yeah.
So... That's
or,
fine.
the oil cartels in the Middle East.
They're always good to do business with.
Yes. The ones that always put us in these predicaments anyway.
Yeah.
Keep working with them. Don't try to get away from that.
Wait, can we look at the date of this article? I just want to make sure. I just want to.
Well, some of it seems new, some of it seems old.
That's what I'm saying. So
May 2nd.
May 2nd. Okay.
Why is this biblical news?
I don't know. Christians?
Burning.
I don't know.
Yeah, they're
Yeah,
probably
it
gonna.
makes sense. Instead of
Yeah.
witches, it's this.
On Saturday evening, a fire broke out at Purdue Farms facility in the South Norfolk area of Chesapeake, North Carolina. 10 days ago, a small plane crashed within a mile of the runway of the Covington, Georgia Municipal Airport, hitting a General Mills food facility. On Sunday, it was being reported that nearly a dozen wildfires had just soared through key agricultural areas of Nebraska. In the middle of the night on March 23rd, a fire broke out on the roof of the General Mills food processing plant in Cedar Rapids, Iowa.
We don't need them.
There's more.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, 25, Zach. 25.
I didn't think it was going to go through each and every one.
Little brief description. I don't know if we
Oh.
need to, but we've got 25 different ones. We'll link it.
15,000 pounds
Zach,
of
can
meat?
you put this, can you just link it at the end? Like, just paste the link in,
Oh, 15,000
just to make sure
pounds
that,
of meat.
because we'll put this link in the description, just so that way you can see how many fires have started, which is absolutely insane.
Just
Yeah, I'm glad I
Just-
brought it up.
yeah, link it at the
honestly,
end.
I'm glad I brought it up because it's pretty big, but it's not being put anywhere, of
That's
course.
the header.
I don't care.
Zach, that's going to be appearing on every single one.
And you said put it anywhere.
Okay, that's not what I meant, Zachary. Sorry, I got distracted. What did you say?
I'm glad I brought it up, to be honest.
Yeah.
And 15,000 pounds of meat and 40,000 pounds of canned foods in just that one place. Just that one place. That's insane. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
50,000 pounds worth of food.
See, and I had a whole argument with somebody about how, like, oh, there's nothing going on with our agriculture. Like, this is because of consumers. All of
Yes, they went
inflation.
and
Yes.
set these places on fire. Crashed a plane.
No, not about this specifically. that would be funny. Jesus Christ. Yeah, we're so mad. Your prices are too high.
Or, you know,
That would be fun.
you glue
Jesus.
your hand to the table. Have you heard about that?
No.
There's this actor, I don't even know his name, but he glued his hand to the table at Starbucks because he is paying an extra 70 cents for vegan milk.
What?
It was in Crowder
Why?
today.
Why did he do it? I
How
must have
sad.
missed it.
How sad of a life.
That's how you know how privileged we are in this
Yeah.
country. Like, really. And if you get so mad over that, and it's like, do you know how money works? Do you know how that's processed compared to normal milk and
Right.
how much cheaper it is for the producer to make
Yep.
milk like that instead of milking oats? You know?
Right.
Like, and that's much more processed.
Milking
Yeah,
oats.
and there's more of a process to it. Like, they need more
Yeah.
equipment, more everything to
Yep.
make your vegan milk.
You know what you need to make milk? Cow.
Yeah, that's
Cow
legit.
duty.
Yeah. Kids play around with some. Zach, I think we're gonna get you a cow just because I'm sure you.
God, no.
Or a goat.
Ooh,
A
goat,
goat would be
cool.
cute.
And you can still get goat milk and goat
And it's
make goat
cute.
cheese. On March 31st, a structure fire significantly damaged a large portion of the Rio Fresh Onion packing facility in San Juan, Texas. It was the largest fresh onion packing facility in the region.
Wow.
But
Yeah, so lots of stuff here.
Yeah.
Definitely check it out.
we're not going to go through all of them, like, because there's just too many. But it is weird that there is this massive connection between multiple different food processing plants that are massive, and we're definitely, like,
Burning down.
burning down.
Yeah.
It's not just...
Burning down or being destroyed in some
Yep.
way.
It's not that they closed. It's not that they couldn't sustain themselves anymore. Well, I guess they couldn't anymore with all the fire.
After that.
But
It's like, how would it just catch on fire?
what we're seeing.
Like, how does the roof just catch on fire?
Poof.
A major fire breaking out, just
Like, I'm not trying to say,
Random
like, these are
places.
intentional type
Yeah.
things, but how does a roof just catch fire like that? You know, like, there's definitely something going on.
Yeah.
Is it a huge conspiracy? No, probably not.
could it be possible that, like, all of these food manufacturing plants are just crappily built?
Absolutely.
Just
Bad
like-
wiring.
None of them know how to. None of them know how to wire their facilities. None of them know how to make things safely. It's a little bit weird.
Yeah. But who knows?
It's scary how poor our economy is right now, and how little we have to even be able to put baby formula on the shelves, and that's partially because of the FDA slowing down some production. But at the end of the day,
I heard that the whole thing. So I think I got some of it out of yours here, but they shut down one of the largest baby formula plants in the nation.
Yep.
It literally provides like 50% of our stock of baby formula.
What? Why?
All over
Yep.
the possible contamination of listeria. Okay, perfectly fine, whatever, you know.
Mhm.
Go in, do your
Understandable.
investigation, check, make
Isn't that
sure.
the same stuff in deli meat? Isn't that the same
It can be. It's a
bacteria?
foodborne illness,
Okay.
yeah. You know, shut things down, do your investigation, make sure the stuff is safe. Because what's the point
Yeah.
if it's just gonna kill the child anyway?
one of those was also salmonella.
Yeah, salmonella too. And so they shut down this plant, did their investigation, and 3 months later it's still not up and running again.
Yep.
Even though they found that there was
What?
nothing, no contaminants, nothing, that it was perfectly
This
fine.
is
Still shut down.
Yeah,
Yep.
this is scary for a lot of moms
See-
that can't make anything, you
Right.
know? And there's a lot of moms out there
Right.
that can't make anything.
No, and it's when you have companies that are now let me see if I can find that. There's retailers like Target, CVS, Walgreens, and others have started enforcing limits. You cannot have more formula than what they say, and it's like, well, I have twins, I have triplets,
Right.
my kids need formula.
Right.
Am I supposed to pick which one lives? Am I supposed to? Is that what we're doing? Are we going back? Are we going to China's one-child policy
Right.
because we just cannot feed them? Is this another way to just stomp on parental rights and stomp on
Oh,
an ability to
absolutely.
parent? Is that really what it is? Where it's, oh, because Roe v. Wade is being repealed now, we're going to make it super.
Well, if we can't get the abortion this way, then we'll just do it this way.
Yep.
But it's like, that's murder. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, that's actual baby.
But it's-
Well, we're not going to get that far, but it's a possibility.
But it's also
Right.
just pushing parents towards more desperation. It's
Definitely.
I feel like that's a point that we can make without really getting into Roe v. Wade. It's more of just like, okay, I know I'm even going to have a harder time just being able to provide my baby with formula. What if I can't produce milk? What if this or that, for my child? It's problematic. It's dangerous because every parent who goes into a pregnancy wanting that child wants that child to live, wants that child to thrive and succeed and
Be healthy.
Yeah, and you need to feed it. It needs to be eating.
And to
able
be
do any of
honest,
it.
not every woman wants to breastfeed. It's absolutely
Right.
annoying and achy and
Yeah.
painful sometimes. Well, not sometimes. My mom actually went through a lot. But, and plus, whatever you eat, whatever you drink, whatever you smoke is going to be there too. So it's like
Yeah.
they have to really have dietary restrictions as well and habit restrictions.
Oh yeah.
So it's like not every woman wants to do that.
Nope.
Yeah, and I know a lot of women also do like pumping. So instead of having the infant actually feed off of their breast, it's still their breast milk, but it's pumped.
hmm
But sometimes those pumps are like hundreds of dollars.
And painful.
Yeah. like it's just not feasible for some people.
Yeah.
You can get like the manual pumps, but when you're pumping 3 to 5 bottles a day, come
Yeah.
on now.
Yeah.
These people don't even
Those
want to
nipples
do
be
more than
dry
text
and
someone.
cracked
And you think that they're going to want to sit there and pump 3 to 4 bottles worth of milk from their breast?
Oh,
Right.
that sounds awesome.
Yeah, and it interferes with work too.
Right.
So there's just so much about it. Why would some women just simply don't want to? That's even more women that can't or won't breastfeed.
Yeah.
It's dangerous. We
Yep.
don't know.
Sure is.
We don't want some feeble little kids
Guess not.
walking around. But let's get into kind of what the biggest news. Well, part of what some big news of this week was a $40 billion aid package to Ukraine. House voted 368 people,
That's
368
a lot.
yays to 57 nays.
And I think every single Democrat said yay, right?
Oh, I can imagine.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
every single one of them
probably.
did.
And I know a lot of
That's
Republicans
still a
did,
lot.
just looking at those numbers.
Yeah.
You know what I don't get? Like, I know we have everything here, and we're probably going to get into it a little bit, just going off on our side tangents. But where is this money coming from? And why are we using it for another country? Like, if we can get up the
We are
40
literally
billion
suffering.
for Ukraine, how come we can't get up the 40 billion for us?
Yeah. No, exactly.
Or
but
what people voted him for was student
Why can't we
loan
finish the wall?
relief.
Right.
why can't we
Right.
finish the wall? There's a ton
Trump
of
asked
people.
for 15 billion to do the wall.
Yep.
This
Why
is
can't
a
we
lot
spend that
more.
money? Yeah.
This is more than double.
Yeah, it's definitely more than double.
See,
It's almost triple.
Yeah.
Biden originally asked for $33 billion. I would like to point out that the $40 billion that was ultimately granted makes up a sum of 5% of the United States expected military budget for the fiscal year.
Jesus.
That's still a big budget, though. Holy crap. We spent a lot of money.
We do.
Yeah.
But, like, just think about that. Like, we're spending part of our 5% of our military funding is now going to Ukraine. It's now going to another country, hoping that they'll do what?
Right.
I'm confused. What are they getting out of that? What are they sure, what are we getting out of that?
Nothing.
Nothing. Absolutely nothing. And yet, everything is so much more expensive, and our wages are meeting less. Like,
Yeah.
really.
And the more and more we send to other countries, like, the less and less our wages mean. And it's like, we're working to make sure that other countries can succeed, and it's like, why?
This tiny little country, mind you, which,
Yeah.
again, I have nothing against Ukraine, but it's like, why are we getting involved?
Why do you matter?
Right.
Why do
Like,
you,
what is there that's so important that we
Like,
need
why
to
can't
protect
other
this?
countries help them as much as we are, too?
Right.
On top of that, why
Like,
are
why
we...
is it always us?
Yeah.
Oh, what was this?
Right. It's like there's countries that are closer.
Absolutely.
Literally.
Like, we'd have to ship all of our shit across the planet.
Yeah.
Or they would just drive it next door.
Yep. Why don't they ask Russia to donate?
Right. It's like, Russia, you want to come and attack us, why don't you put up a bill, a little bit of a payment for it? Something. I think at the end of this, all that they need to do is do what we did to Germany after World War One. Make them desolate,
You're saying
no
Russia?
money. Yeah.
But then that's how... Do you remember how we got into World War II?
Well, that's because one crazy man didn't get accepted into his art school.
Well, hold on.
choice.
Hold on. No.
And
That's
he
not
just
why.
decided
That
he
is
wanted
not.
to go off
That
on
is
a
not
different
why.
tangent.
That is. Let's be honest about the reason why that happened. Why did he get into power?
Well, that's yeah, because
Because
he
the
took
people-
advantage of people being stupid.
No,
And
he took.
believing that
He
People
took.
being
problem
literally
was-
normal. It's
He
psychology.
took
It's so
advantage
scary.
of the desperation of people because
Yup.
we fucked Germany. We messed Germany up so bad after World War One. I think that was a big learning lesson to say, hey, we got a Hitler out of that because there was a guy who was crazy enough to rile up all the people who were mad at the rest of
Yeah.
the world, and this guy's gonna do a bunch of crazy things. And
Blamed all the problems on one
we're gonna get
specific...
do you want Putin to be the next Hitler?
I mean, he pretty much is at this point. He's getting there.
Getting
Granted,
there, but-
don't get me wrong. Like, Hitler is definitely way worse.
I don't know. I feel China
But
is worse.
they're
What-
kinda
what they
getting
do
there.
with their people.
Yeah,
with all
China's
the
definitely worse
surveillance.
than Russia.
But I'm
Like,
just
I don't know,
saying,
that's scary.
you.
North Korea? Like, yo.
I think gone are the days of massive sanctions. I think
Yeah.
in that sense, where
I
I
don't
think
know.
punishing countries now, we've learned that lesson. Like Hitler, like I really do think.
I don't know.
that-
I think isolating them completely. I mean, obviously you can still do business with them. I mean, you can't just cut them off because there's crops that they can't grow, stuff like that. Like, I'm not saying like kill off Russia yet, but at the end of the day, like it needs to be made an example of like you don't just threaten nuclear war.
That's fair.
And get away with
it. That's very fair.
Just freaking children.
You know, like at this point, like no, after this is all said and done, if Russia loses, we need to say, okay, you no longer get nukes. You can rely on coal power plants and solar and green energy, whatever. You don't get nuclear energy. Maybe once we get fusion, you can get some of that. You can, purchase extra from a neighboring country.
But again, like,
But this is
them
all you
being pushed out of society is going to make them terrible.
I see what you're talking about, though, Andrew.
Oh, yeah.
Because that can definitely
It's
stir up the pot.
it's got to be some sort of
It's just
rehabilitation.
one of those,
It's got.
yeah.
I don't know.
I'm not saying, like, permanent.
Yeah, I don't know if pushing
But
like this
at
is,
least for the first few years. At least.
I think America would go down the path of trying to instill democracy in Russia.
Yeah, because that's what they always want to do.
It's exactly what they always want to do, and I think it would be an insane measure
Mm-hmm.
to try to do something like that.
I think what it is
Maybe break up Russia,
yeah, I think that would probably be the easiest thing to do.
probably, and just give but who would be in control in that sense? Would it okay? So America is one. Would
Now
it be?
we'd have to facilitate some sort of election.
But you see, at that point, we had a world war.
Yeah.
If we're breaking apart Russia.
Yeah.
Like, because there's no way that Ukraine's going to be dividing up Russia. Why would they?
Well, I think what it would come down to is, at the end of it, if Russia loses, well, shit, if Russia wins, they can still take them. But, like how we did with, Geneva Convention, stuff like that, after World War II.
But that was World
Hitler.
War. That's exactly what I'm saying,
Right.
where it's like,
But we can always do that on a smaller scale. Like, they did the same thing for the child soldiers in
I don't-
Africa
but I don't
during
think-
their civil wars. They were like, no, that's kind of not okay, and they, did what they could. I think that's what we would
what
do.
was it that they could? What did they do?
I think it was not sanctions, but pretty much like fines, fees.
That's probably
what they could
what-
do legally.
That's probably what we would
You
be
know.
able to do with Russia, though. Like,
I
we
don't
would,
know.
I don't think we'd legally be, that's pretty much what I'm saying, where we wouldn't legally be able to break up Russia unless we were fighting Russia ourselves. And I
Yeah.
don't see ourselves fighting Russia unless it was some sort of world war.
What is Ukraine going to do with Russia if they win? Like, that's
That
the big
too.
question, too. It's like, what's going to happen if Ukraine does win?
I guess they're both kind of, I guess Ukraine is kind of just hoping that, like, okay, here's a peace treaty. You
Right.
escape from us and, like, leave us alone
Right.
for the next 40, however many
20
years.
years until
Yeah.
Putin's a bit more senile and wants to go for round 3.
Could you imagine?
Yeah.
I think a military member might just, like,
I'm
Yeah.
surprised they haven't.
they might
I'm
have.
honestly surprised that no one has tried to
Yeah,
kill
because they're not
Putin.
really winning right now, too. So it's like.
Yeah.
Who knows? They could have. He's got doubles and stuff. Maybe they literally just said, okay, now all the doubles are, you're all Putin.
Yeah. Or
We
what
don't
if,
know
like,
what Putin looks like.
they're working through the doubles
Yeah, no, exactly. Like, we don't know what they
one
look like.
by one.
They could all be.
I want to know what other countries are giving to Ukraine.
Oh,
Probably not.
look up a
Yeah.
map. No, look up a map. It's like every other country has given some sort of something to Ukraine.
Okay.
But
It's not just us, but.
no, but we've definitely given a lot, and like it's just something that it's getting into a world war type of thing, and I want to be out of. I want to be away
Well,
from it.
yeah, you'd be drafted. And me.
Zach, how did you spell that? Okay.
Oh, yeah, I don't care.
Do a map so that way we can see like the global.
Like this?
No, like the global. Thank you, Zach. Thank you for inserting the I.
Global.
Well, this is just showing me a
Look
map
up
of
global
Ukraine.
donations. Ukraine global donations map.
Wrong button.
It's really wild that
Well,
places
thank you.
that are put into attention from the news gets all this funding.
Right.
There's so much going on in other countries.
Oh yeah.
But
It's
it's
really
all
whatever we wanna
dependent
pay attention
on what we're paying attention to. It's kind of sad. Like, it honestly breaks my heart.
Shout out to the League of Muslims.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They matter. Who else matters? Anybody else? Anybody? Anybody? Anybody name anybody else that matters? The Chinese
All
child
lives.
prostitutes. Thailand child prostitutes. Practically every country's child prostitutes.
Right. The child soldiers that were in Africa. I wonder if I don't know if they still have some.
I did not
They're
even
working for
know they
PewDiePie.
existed. Holy crap. Hmm.
But I want to thank you guys for joining me.
Mhm.
I've had a really good time working on this podcast, making this episode. Zach, we're gonna miss you.
Yeah, it's been fun. I'm gonna miss being here on Thursdays.
Yeah, we might have to get you on Skype or something. Just put you on this monitor and figure something out.
Maybe. Once in a while.
Yeah,
Once
if
I
you're
have the
off.
time. Yeah.
You're gonna be like the Ned's Declassified. You remember that lady who would, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Just in the, what was that thing called? Holy cow, it stopped being a thing when we were, like, growing up. It's the thing that would project on the wall.
Oh, the
or-
overhead?
the overhead. Remember that thing? That was so funny.
Mhm.
Like, they had to print out all these weird
The
sheets.
transparencies.
Yeah, the transparent sheets. I feel bad for those teachers who had to stare down at that, like, every day. Like, I've never
Yeah.
really thought about it. Like, holy cow. They had to, like, stare at light
Light.
just to
Like a
be able
light
to
bulb.
write and show you guys
And that
something.
thing probably got hot. Because they had that shit
Yep.
running all class.
But it's the same with at the front of the board,
Yeah.
where it's like you have a projector flashing lights. Like, I always noticed that when I had to write on the smart board and stuff.
Yeah. Although that's nicer because you're not facing the projector.
No, that's true. You can definitely
know.
face at an angle and, like, not even
Yeah.
worry about it. And, like, that is cool.
And if you're like writing on the board, then you're not facing it at all. So it's
True.
not too bad of an issue. But when you're like standing up there talking, like presenting a presentation or something, you're standing there, horrible.
Yeah, no, it's just you don't want to look down because you're trying to give a presentation. You don't want to look
Right.
all the way up. Just ridiculousness. But that's what this podcast has been.
Yeah.
Any last moments? Any last words before we head out?
I don't think so.
Just tune in for next week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Be probably Nicole and I. Maybe a guest. Maybe not. Who knows? We'll keep you guys updated. But enjoy the rest of your week. Thank you for joining us. Leave a like, subscribe, and check out these videos that you see.
Thank
See
you.
you next week.